Hello, everyone. Welcome to Commandant's Corner. Commandant's Corner is a monthly social time where we learn a little bit more about the league and its programs and everything that we do. This time on deck is 19:05. That's military time. For you civilians, it is 7:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on March 14th. It's Pi Day. And here on Pi Day, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Marine Corps League's YPF program. Without further ado, I do want to announce that our National Commandant, Johnny Baker, is traveling right now, and he is excused for tonight. He did notify me that he would be sending Happy Face to speak to us from the national level. So we have our National Junior Vice Commandant, TJ Morgan, on deck to say hello to everyone. Go ahead, TJ.
Well, good evening, everybody. This is a great topic here, and it's too bad the Commandant's traveling, but he's got some important business to take care of. We're working with the Marine Corps Association and Foundation to try to move headquarters onto base in Quantico, and so that's an important task and a long, drawn-out process. So I'd like to welcome all of you. Very important topic tonight. Before we get too far down the rabbit hole here, please keep Warren Griffin and his family in your thoughts and prayers and what he's going through, and pray a little bit. That never hurts. It never hurts to do that, and they're going through quite a bit of a life change here, and so your support and your prayers are appreciated. Anyway, so what we're here to talk about today is YPF, and the Commandant has, asked me to let all of you know that he and the Board of Trustees and the Marine Corps League is behind this program 100%, and we're going to back that, and we're going to do what we can to make this successful. And we sure do have two great leaders here in Tom Hazlitt and Paul Durham to lead us forward with that. And so with that, I would say welcome, and back to you, Victoria, and we can get on with that and get my face and voice out of here.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, well, again, without further ado, we're going to start talking a little bit about the program. And to do that, we're going to introduce Tom Hazlitt. Tom Hazlitt, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do for the YPF, and what we need to know.
All right. Good evening, all. And first off, if you think I'm talking a little bit funny, I just had some dental surgery done, so excuse me if I end up covering my mouth a little bit because it's still bleeding slightly. But the Youth Physical Fitness Program, I've been involved in it for about 12 years. With the Department of Pennsylvania is where I started out, and everybody knows Paul Hastings, and Paul Hastings invited me to Parkland High School for a meet about 12 years ago, and I went to the meet, and sure enough, there were about 35 teams that showed up. Fantastic area for a meet, and afterwards, I thought, wow, that was pretty impressive watching the kids. And if you've never seen one, you don't really know what you're missing. But I told them I enjoyed it, and that I hoped I could help out again. Well, sure enough, Paul Hastings made sure I helped out again, because he decided that I needed to be the Department of Pennsylvania's YPF chairman. And about 3 weeks later, I received a letter from National Commandant Vic Battaggio congratulating me on becoming the National YPF chairman. And I didn't know I volunteered to do either one of them, but it was probably one of the best job assignments I ever undertook. And today I still love the fact that the youth of this country can get involved in such a program that brings excitement to them. It brings competition to them. It gets them out from behind the TVs, the games, and it gives them something to look forward to, and it gives them something to be proud of. So my involvement with the youth of America has always been there. I've been a Boy Scout leader. I helped set up a Navy League, Navy Sea Cadets unit down in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. And the kids of this country have always been one of my priorities. Unfortunately, what I'm seeing, and I've seen over the last 12 years, is that there's been a huge decrease in the number of schools across this country that are participating in the YPF. I do need to point out and stress to you that the program name is the Youth Physical Fitness Program of the Marine Corps League. It is not owned by somebody else. It's not run by somebody else. It is your program. It's our program. And unfortunately, over the last probably 6 to 7 years is when the biggest decline has started. We went from hundreds of schools across the country participating in this program to now having just 3 high schools that are non-JROTC high schools, 3 high schools that compete in the national meet, from hundreds to 3. And there's got to be a reason for it. And normally, like most things, money gets involved, lack of education about the programs involved, cutbacks, people get older. Some of us, TJ especially, can witness this. And as we get older, we have a tendency to want to just sit back, take our packs off, and let somebody else do the program. Well, money is not an issue with this program. We have the U.S. Marines Youth Foundation, which I'm the executive director for, and any money that we need, they give it to us. They buy all of the awards, thousands and thousands of dollars of awards every year goes out to some of these schools that are participating in these programs. The average cost of holding a meet for us is about $3,000. And we hold meets for the Northeast region. We hold meets for the Southern region. We did have one for the Southwest region, but it's kind of gone away. Michigan, if there's anybody out there from Michigan, Ohio, you guys used to be the leading states where the youth physical fitness program took place in. Then it kind of shifted to Pennsylvania, and then New York kind of dropped off a little bit. Now I have 2 schools out of New York and 1 school out of Pennsylvania that are participating in this program on a national level. Not good. The reason I believe it is because we have not done our job as Marine Corps League members of going out, talking to the schools, introducing the program, not running their programs, but introducing the program and letting them see what this program is, giving them some history about the program. This is where the Marine Corps League comes in. This is why the Marine Corps League was chosen by the Commandant of the Marine Corps years ago when it was developed, is because you are the ones who can physically go to those schools. You are the ones who have had your children attend those schools or have your grandchildren continually going to those schools. No one else knows those schools better than you do in your hometowns. We can build all the videos we want. We can make all the presentations, the PowerPoint presentations. We can get all the magazine advertisements that we can possibly pay for, but it's not going to help if we don't have you going to the school to show this program. So what does that take? It takes a little bit of an education and a whole lot of heart and desire to do this. You have to be a salesperson. You have to be able to be excited about the program, to present it to these school faculty members, to the principals, to the administrators and the school districts. And I'll give you an example of one of the latest ones that I did. I was invited to go to Ohio to speak to a principal of a school that was interested in the program. So I drove from Pennsylvania to Ohio, spoke with a friend of mine that was involved and wanted to get more involved in the YPF program. He set it up so that I would go to the school, I would present this to the principal of the school. Well, what showed up were about 22 different people, and every one of those 22 people were representatives of a school. Now, keep in mind that this program is not just for high school. It's grade school through high schools. It's the youth physical fitness program, not to be confused with it's the national high school program, because that's a program within our program. But when I sat there and started talking, first off, the person that was supposedly the principal was not the principal. She was the superintendent of public schools for that portion of Ohio. She had 22 principals, is what it ended up being. And after a 15-minute presentation, every one of those schools signed up for that program. It is a win-win situation. I'm not going to sit there and talk you through the whole program, because that's not what I want tonight. I want you to understand that this program is yours. If it's going to succeed, it's going to depend on you and every other representative. And having talked with Johnny Baker extensively over the last month and a half, 2 months, we've developed an SOP. We have a memo of understanding between the Youth Foundation and the Marine Corps League as to who's doing what. But it all boils down to the departments, the detachments, having representatives going out to the schools. I can't travel around the country enough to visit every school. I don't know people in those schools. You do. So, Bo, I want you to chime in anytime you want to. And I know, unfortunately, your video's not working, thank goodness. But I know your voice does, but
Actually, before we get Bo, I did get a text message. I believe Johnny Baker is on board. Sir, are you with us?
Fantastic.
We might have dropped him. He shared a picture saying he was on board and he had his little headset on, so maybe he's on an airplane. Not real sure, but we'll go ahead and turn it over to Bo. Bo,
Yeah.
let's hear your
Bo,
voice.
are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Gotcha.
Tom kind of put everything already in the basket. So the only thing I can add is that a few years ago, I received a phone call from Richard Gore asking me to come alongside of Tom to kind of execute the mission that we thought was one way, and we finding out over the years that is actually a different way with regards to who owns the program. And so the only thing I can kind of add to what Tom said is that all of us have been in leadership positions. We've been over leaderships. And at the end of the day, if the head doesn't make this important, it won't be important for the Marine Corps League. And so on my watch, it wasn't as important as it should have been. But having conversation with Johnny Baker, we're trying to put this back in the place where it should be, and it's the Marine Corps League Youth Physical Fitness. And so on that note, it's about us going out into our community, impacting a future that we won't see. And we have to do that starting with the children. And so it's an inroad for all of us to stay connected to the school system. At the end of the day, I think that speaking with Johnny Baker, he's trying to take ownership of the program that has been our program for about 40 years, maybe 50 years. And so I came alongside of Tom to help facilitate the old way. And that season is up. And so Johnny Baker want to start a new chairman alongside of Tom Hazlitt to give this program back to the members, the Marines that's doing the good work at their own hometowns. So that's all I want to add what Tom has already said.
All right, thanks for that, Bo. A question came into chat. I don't have a name. It was somebody on an iPhone. if that person would like to actually verbalize their question right now, or would you like me to read it? I'll go ahead and read the question coming in from iPhone.
I can give it to you, Victoria. Danny Thomas.
Go ahead.
Hey, so what would the school have to spend for that program? I know you got funds available, but what kind of money would they have to spend or personnel they have to do for that? Thank you.
All right, I heard the question. It's a good question. The program does not cost anything to do. The schools itself that run the program, we do have quite a few schools that run their own program. They don't compete statewide, they don't compete regional or national, but they do compete within their own schools. And basically, to run a YPF course, which is 5 exercises, and you can see all this on the U.S. Marines Youth Foundation's website. And their website is usmarineyouthfoundation.org. You can go in there and look at that website. You can browse through it. And every question you probably would have, you could find on that website. The only thing that you won't find is your participation, because you have to decide whether or not you're going to do this. But when you go to a school and you educate them, there is no cost to the school. There is no cost to the awards to the school. There's no cost to actually do the program to the school. It's not like the president's physical fitness program that at one time, most of us probably did that in high school. And it was free then. Well, today it costs thousands of dollars for schools to participate in the president's physical fitness program. And schools do not have that money to do that. This has always been a free program, and it's over 50 years old. It's always been free. It's just if the school wants to undertake the program. Normally, a coach or an outside parent, most of the schools that I know that do this have clubs, or they have a retired coach or a current coach that is very interested. We have wrestling coaches that love this program because it's 2 minutes of solid exercise followed by a 3-minute rest and prep, then right back. So that's kind of like what the wrestlers do. They're in there for a couple minutes, they wrestle their hearts out, take a break, then go back in. Boxing's the same way. So we have schools that are interested in this because of the type exercises that we do. It was founded by Headquarters Marine Corps. It was built off of the Headquarters Marine Corps physical fitness program, but with the understanding that these are kids that are doing this. So cost to the school, nothing. If the school decides that they are going to hire a coach to do this, then that's the school's decision. But if you look at the website at some time and you look at the exercises, they're exercises that are familiar to most everybody. They started off by doing crunches, 2 minutes worth of crunches, then they move over to push-ups, 2 minutes worth of push-ups. Then they go to a standing long jump. Then they do pull-ups, and they finish it off with a 300-yard shuttle run. The total time, if you just went through and say, well, there's 5 exercises at 2 minutes apiece, that's 10 minutes. And there's 3 minutes of rest between each one. So you don't count all 5 of them because there's only 4 breaks between them. So you end up with another 12 minutes. So about a half hour it takes to run that program, which is a pretty legitimate time for kids that are in a PT program or something like that. But that's where the problem started. Of all the programs that they cut out in schools, they cut out the programs that were least important academically and they would never touch their football program or baseball because that brought in money for the school. So PT programs went away, your arts, your music programs went away. And because of that, all of a sudden this program started going away. But my firm belief is this program has gone away because we haven't done our jobs. We have not visited the schools, because every school I talk to today, they love it. They think this is fantastic. It's going to get the kids back into a physical activity. It's going to give them something to do other than playing video games. Our logo, if you ever look at our website, is you'll see that it's the solution to a drug-free America. We're wanting these kids to get out from underneath the influence of some of their peers who are putting pressure on them. You know, let's do some drugs, let's do some alcohol, whatever. We're letting them know that, you know what, this is a good, fun program. And when you watch these kids, you'll understand what I'm talking about by their motivation, because I have seen kids start this in their first year. They couldn't do one pull-up, not one. They could crank out a couple sit-ups when we did sit-ups. Now it's crunches, but they were pretty much hopeless as far as their physical conditioning. 4 years later, I'm seeing them compete in national competition. They're doing 30 dead hang pull-ups, not kipping, not swinging, dead hang, straight up, straight down. They're doing 60 push-ups in 2 minutes. Their jumps, some of them are jumping 8 feet, 9 feet, 10 feet from a standing platform. They go over to the pull-ups and just crank them out like crazy. And then they run the shuttle, 300-yard shuttle run under a minute. It's amazing watching these kids develop through these programs. And the coaches will tell you it has increased their kids' interest in academics. It has increased their kids' interest in socializing with other kids. It keeps them out of trouble. It gives them something to look forward to. So this program has so many benefits, but it starts right here with each one of you that I'm looking at in these pictures. Some of you I know, some of you I know are involved in the program. Some of Victoria has helped out with this program. She came out to take pictures of one of the meets that were in Palmyra, right outside where she lives, at the net, whatever, the In the Net facility. And what did you end up doing, Victoria?
Oh, I was holding ankles. I was laughing. I was running alongside these kids. It was amazing.
Yep. Everybody that's from Pennsylvania knows Johnny Gill. And most people that aren't from Pennsylvania that happen to know Johnny Gill used to have so many problems when it came to walking, but he would go out to a meet and he would time the kids on their 300-yard relay. And he would actually meet those kids at halfway finished on the last lap, and he would run with them, encouraging them to come on, don't quit, quit, come on, don't quit, keep up with me. Well, the problem with Johnny is once Johnny started moving, Johnny couldn't stop. So it was like run, Forrest, run, where he runs out of the stadium. Well, unfortunately, there was a brick wall on the inside of the basketball court, and Johnny would run face first right into that brick wall to get him to stop. But he was so motivated with those kids, it was amazing. I don't know of anyone who has not had fun at a youth physical fitness competition.
Agreed. We got some questions coming in, Tom.
Okay.
Go ahead, Aaron. The floor is yours. Anybody else that has a question and missed my opening comments, To ask a question or make a comment, hover across the bottom of your screen and you will see a reactions. Click reactions and raise your hand electronically. Come on, bring those questions in. Go ahead, Aaron.
All right. Hey, Tom, one of the questions I have basically is the presentation. Do you have a format? Is there something we have will be made available for us to present to the schools so that we can show them and demonstrate them what is involved, what the costs are, if there are no costs, how it works, and all that? And also, as presenting this information to the schools or whatever, are we having to be present at all the coordinated events that they may have or may get involved in the later in the future?
Okay, a bunch of good questions, and a simple answer would be your involvement is to introduce the program to the school, not to run it, not to be there for every one of their workouts and things like that. You are introducing it to them. Yes, we have videos. We have some videos that are actually on our website. We have coaches that are currently breaking down the exercises to teach just to show you what the exercises, how they're graded and so forth. But basically your job is to let the school know. And I do have a small booklet that I printed out years ago, and with the hopes that, somebody would look at it, read it. It's online, but it's not being done. And there's got to be a reason for it. You can find it on the U.S. Marines Youth Foundation.org website. All you have to do is look underneath the youth physical fitness area, and you'll see all the different pop-ups. But there are documents that are on there that will show you from A to Z what the program is. But you have to understand the program. You have to understand the importance of the program. If you go into the youth physical fitness area and you open up the national program, it starts right off the bat about why many of our youth today are not physically capable to meet the challenges of a physical activity program. It goes on and on and on, explaining about what the Youth Foundation has done, what the Youth Physical Fitness Program has done, some of the people that have backed it in the past. There are just so many different things that you could tell the school, but my recommendation is that you understand the program. And what I'm going to ask, and I have talked to Johnny Baker about, is that we have like school circles, maybe over like we have breakout sessions at midwinter and national convention. We'll have some breakout sessions and talk about the program on how you should present it to the schools.
Yeah,
Aaron,
okay.
did that answer all your questions?
There's
Well,
not
it does,
one
but
way
at the
to
same-
do it. There's many ways to do it.
Yeah, because I ran the Young Marines program from 2003 to 2014, and it's very similar because we try to teach everyone that everyone is an individual, but it was kind of difficult to get those kids to get going on it until it's you lead by example. So when I was in my 60s, because I'm way into my 70s now, but I did more pull-ups, more push-ups, more running around than they did. And I was like, okay, this is really sad when they can't even do a pull-up. But by the same token, it's just the motivation that may present itself later on, that even at our age, we are able to do that same thing even now. So it helps that way.
It is, Aaron, it's an amazing program, and the kids are excited that do it. But we got to start at someplace, and it starts with the education of ourselves to understand the program. And that is going to be one of the items that Johnny Baker and I have talked about, and several of us have talked about, is presenting you the way to present the program to the schools.
All right, thank you. We do have, before we get to Gary and Scott have their hands up, there was a question that came into chat, actually more of a comment. Dave, are you available to deliver that comment that you wrote in the chat? Dave Engler?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right,
Yeah,
go ahead and explain what you had happened.
I've tried that link on 2 computers, my phone, and 3 different browsers, and it comes back as your connection is not private. That's for the U.S. Marines Youth Foundation.org. So I don't know.
Yeah, I had that problem earlier too, and I had to tell it to disregard it and just go onto the website.
Yeah. Normally that's just the web administrator hasn't updated the certificates yet. So it would be good to get that fixed quickly.
Yeah, I don't know. There's times that it happens and then times that it doesn't. And that's a lot of different sites that I go to. I get that same. And usually it's right after I update my system itself. So there's something that's not talking to these websites. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for pointing that out, Dave. All right, Gary and Scott, you did a little switcheroo on me there. Gary, you were up first. I guess you dropped and came back. Gary, you're up first, and then Scott, you're on deck. Stand by.
Okay, I did the same thing, and I would add that when you go to the website, the Marine Corps League website, and you get to the Youth Physical Fitness Program, there's not a link there to where you get, like you were talking about, Tom, is the information about it. I don't see any. I see nothing on the site to have access to that. Thank you.
Okay, I don't know why you're seeing that. I saw it too, but I was able to go down to a point where that says to ignore the warning and just go to the website.
This is not the warning. This is actually on the Marine Corps League page on the programs where it says on the link for youth programs is described, and when you go down to Youth Physical Fitness YPF program, there's I can send an email to D Durham or an admin US Marine Youth Foundation.org, but there's never a link or any place where you find information on this program, sir.
I just clicked mine and it went right to it. Okay.
So I think what Gary's saying is the hyperlink.
I'll look into it. I will.
Okay.
I'll look into it to find out where the break is.
Okay, so the hyperlink on the league page. Very good. All right, thank you for bringing that to Tom's attention. All right, moving on with more questions. What? Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to add a few things on top of what Tom just said. You know, the purpose of this Zoom is to kind of galvanize the Marine Corps League, like we did in times past with Toys for Tots, with funeral details, that we came alongside the reserve side of the house. And that's the important part, is that we want to create a spark that causes us to go out inside our communities and kind of set a base down for this program. And as we go forward, you know, that information that's requested on the Zoom and items to give you some tools that probably be redone, recreated to make us more effective. And if you're already connected to a JROTC in your community, we have a footprint at Headquarters Marine Corps where they participate in the program, and Headquarters Marine Corps fund that side of the house for the JROTC. And so what we're trying to do in the Zoom is kind of rally the squad bay and say, let's go out to Court Street or whatever the case may be, so we can be on one accord. And so I just wanted to add that in it as well, you know, as we go forward.
All right, good to see your face, Bo. Glad you got your camera working. All right, there are some more comments coming in. One from Craig, who also has his hand up as to how to fix the website as certificate situation. That's probably more an administrative offline conversation, but there is something in the chat, Tom, for you to look at. Scott, you are up. Craig, you are on deck. Go ahead, Scott.
Thanks, Victoria. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tom, maybe Bo might have just said something that tips a hand. If I gain enough interest of half or more of my 50 detachments at the convention in June. Would you be up to travel if we paid your way and a couple days hotel?
I would be willing to go without you paying my way.
Well,
That's how important it is to me. Yep.
well, we wouldn't have you do that, but I'd love to spend the excitement here. Next week is our spring conference, and so I'm going to put that out there because there's no reason any of our states, I mean, and Florida's pretty big, and that we can't get out there. And I'm already thinking, talk to the school superintendent or talk to the head coaches, convention whenever they come up in the counties, that's the starting place to start selling it. And if I'm going to go sell it, I just need a little bit of coach training. So I'll touch base with you if you're willing. Either that, or we could set you up to do a Zoom during our conference. You wouldn't have to travel at all.
Yep, Scott, any way you guys want, as long as I'm available to do it, I would gladly do it.
Okay.
Plus, I'm always looking forward to going down to the state of Florida that has the best entire football program in the country. So go Gators, you know?
All right, thanks for that,
Gators.
Scott. And
This
that's
is
for
what
everybody.
I got to say.
There
Right
you
there.
go.
And that is for everybody, not only now here present in this Zoom where we have 53 participants, but those that are going to rewatch it on YouTube. Keep that in mind, that Tom Hazlitt makes himself available. If he has the time and can get to you, absolutely reach out to him and see where he can speak about these programs. Craig, you are up and there is nobody on deck. If anybody has a burning question, come on in, Craig.
Hi, everybody. Once obviously the idea of this is to get the program re-energized at the local detachment level. So once we've gotten it, and I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but, New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and I participated in a meet out in El Paso when I was there a couple of years ago. So those were things that were put on by the local Marine Corps League. So once you have enough participation in your area, then it's time for, the Marine Corps League to step it up a notch, I'd say. And, how do you put on a regional meet? Do you have enough participation in your state that you could have a state meet, or something like that? And then, work through the, Tom and the foundation to get all of the needed plaques and everything you need for that meet. So, when you look long term, it's great to have people locally participating in this program, but then the Marine Corps League could really step it up by, hosting local meets, and everyone always says, where am I going to get the people to help volunteer for this? Well, there are tons of Johnny Gills out there that want to participate, that can, us Marine Corps Leaguers at different levels of physical fitness, but again, and you don't have to stick with just Marine Corps recruiters, but, all of the recruiters would love to be able to interact in a friendly setting with high school aged kids, at a physical fitness meet, so you ask the Air Force and the Navy and, so that's where you're getting your volunteers from, along with the Marine Corps League. So I just wanted to say that, I used to participate a lot at the New Jersey meet every year. And so I know, what it's like. And if people don't know how to run a meet, maybe I would suggest you take a road trip if you can, or you're close enough to go to Pennsylvania or to go to someone else that is running a meet and see what they're doing, so you can try and start your own meet in your own local area when you get enough people, enough schools volunteering in your local community.
Outstanding words. Go ahead, Craig.
Yeah. And the other, as I mentioned, I think the website is just not paying for the SSL certificate, which makes it, an HTTPS versus an HTTP. If they just pay that, whatever that fee is, then it becomes a secure site.
Craig, we do have the SSL security, and I'm looking at it on my website now, and it is definitely HTTPS.
Okay. I Googled it also like everyone else has, and I'm on an unsecure site for some reason.
We just redid this with GoDaddy does our website, so I'll contact them, or I'll get the web host to contact them, and we'll get that squared away. But you're right on you're right about the volunteers. The Marine Corps League, especially in Pennsylvania, we always had 30, 40, 50 league members show up. They held the kids' feet, they counted their pull-ups, they counted their crunches and so forth. But little by little, as it's come along over the last few years, especially COVID, and then the state's requirements that you had to be certified, you had to be cleared in order to be around kids, put a damper to certain things. But the real issue is that we are just not visiting the schools to educate the schools about this program. And I assure you, once the program is started in a school and kids talk to kids, hey, we started this great program. Some of those kids are the best recruiters they have for going into other schools, because all of a sudden kids from those schools start saying, well, why can't we have this program? So, but we really need to go out and hit the schools. And as I said, we had hundreds of schools in Michigan and Ohio. And guess how many schools we have in Michigan and Ohio today that compete in this program? None. Zero. Other than the schools that I visited that signed up for it, but COVID killed that right off the bat. You got to go to the schools. You got to educate them.
Victoria,
I have a
Victoria,
question.
this is TJ. Can I ask one question of Tom? Tom,
You didn't
is
raise your
there-
hand.
I can't find it. It's just part-timers or something. When Tom said I was old, that's probably what it is. I'm too old to find
Go
it.
ahead, TJ.
Tom, so just a quick question for Tom. Tom, what about, talk to me real quick about liability insurance, waivers, if there's anything like that we need to be aware of.
The schools will normally have their own waiver and liability issues. Again, we're not running their programs. The school run their programs. Where we run into liability issues are when we run the regional meets or we run the national meet. But we go through our insurance company, Russ, and we have a liability waiver. I think it's either $3 or $5 million liability waiver, and it costs us maybe a couple $100 a year to do this. So it's not that much. Schools, like when Craig was talking about going to New Jersey, they used to hold a meet out at the college. I'm trying to think what college it was. It took a lot of my money because my son went to it.
Rutgers.
Yeah, Rutgers. And Rutgers ran the program as far as the school. They allowed them to use their gymnasium, but we had to purchase the liability insurance. So there may be a time that the liability insurance had to be paid, but the U.S. Marines Youth Foundation paid them for their liability insurance. So it didn't come out of the Marine Corps League's pockets. It came out of the U.S. Marines Youth Foundation.
Thank you, Tom.
Yep.
All right, I have a question. Should we get high school motivated enough to actually make up in the ranks, if you will, to attend a national meet? Does the school have to provide any funding to get the students and their chaperones to that meet?
Yes, if they're going to participate in a national meet or a regional meet or state meet, it's going to be up to the parents and the students to pay their way there. Once they are there, though, the U.S. Marines Youth Foundation picks up their billeting costs unless they want to stay in a private hotel. But we always have barracks like this. The meet that's getting ready to take place in May is going to be again in Little Rock, Arkansas. And the kids are welcome to stay out at Camp Robinson in the barracks out there, which are very nice barracks. And it doesn't cost them a cent. Any cost is picked up by the U.S. Marines Youth Foundation. They do have to buy their meals, but they're only out there for a few days. And any side activity that they decide to do, they want to go visit a museum, or they would have to pay the cost that it would be for their admittance to that. But
Okay.
otherwise, we pay for everything once they physically get there.
Very good. That helps with the selling pitch, if you will. Greg Sims, first of all, congratulations and thank you for being a Marine Corps League member for some 39 years in the chat there. And that's exactly why we do these sessions. I've been running these Commandants Corners for almost, 3.5 years now. And every month there's a different topic. And to know that it happened right in your backyard and the awareness wasn't out there, can't answer to why. But this 39 years young, and now you're just hearing about it. And let's hope for the next 39 years, you can be a huge part of its success and ask the right questions. Any more burning questions?
Yeah, that's a great point, Victoria. And Greg, actually, it's moved from Rutgers now, and it's held now in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and it's held at the Admiral Halsey Academy School. High school, and a Master Sergeant Bob Geralds is the one that runs that program, and he's getting ready to have a regional meet next month.
Outstanding. Any more burning questions before we stop the recording? Keep in mind, when I stop the recording, we'll still be here for social time and more casual questions. But as the recording session is going, is there any more questions that would pertain to this topic? All right. With that being said, I just want to thank very much Tom Haslett and Bo Durham for being here. And any further questions, they both make themselves available to learn more. The next Commandant's Corner is an unplugged version, which means it will not be recorded and not posted. And that is on the March 23rd on a Thursday. No topic. We just shoot breeze, if you will. So we hope to see you there. The next recorded session is about the Military Order of the Devil Dogs. And our 59th Chief is sitting here. Hopefully he'll join us next month for that recorded session as we learn more about the MODD program. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to stop the recording. Again, you don't have to leave the room.
Great job, Tom. Great job. Bo,
Thanks,
thank you. Thank you, guys.
And again, any of you out there, if you need me to call you, if you want to talk, if you want me to Zoom with you, if you want me to visit, you just have to let me know. It's very difficult to travel someplace and then only have a person meet with you.
Yeah.
And so just take into consideration that if we get all 50 states or all of the departments involved, and the way they were involved before was we had points of contact. They were department chair people who chaired this program, and they gave reports to national on the program. And at that time, I was the national chairman for the Youth Physical Fitness Program, and I got reports from everybody that was running this program. Today, Bo, do you get any reports at all from anybody? No reports.
Negative.
Which
And
means that-
again, Tom, on your point, before I got the call up, I had no clue, no idea, like GS stated in his question. I didn't even know the program exists. The only thing that I knew is that General Gray was a part of the equation. And so that excited me. But I was also at the time assistant scoutmaster, and then I moved up to scoutmaster. So all I knew is that it involved youth. And so that sparked something in me. But at the end of the day, we have to go forward to kind of educate people that it's a program that we can go into our community and touch our future hands-on. And our society has limited people of our stature, of our age group, to come into the school system. But this is a tool to allow us to come inside, if you will. And so So for me, that's what's exciting for me, is that we have an opportunity to touch the future. Part of the recruiting effort, we do it with Toys for Tots. This is a recruiting effort that they may not come in our core, but when they see someone like the gentleman, the Marine said earlier, in his 60s, he was out doing pull-ups more than anybody, and that's pretty unusual and exciting. If I was a high school student and saw a Marine stud like himself, and perhaps I said, I want some of that when I'm 60 or 70 plus. So that's what this is all about. Johnny Baker, he's moving forward. And I applaud that because, we got to figure this thing out, how to touch our future. And this is a program that's been around for 50 years and it still works. My scouts used it, our church used it, and everywhere I go, of course, I'm going to tell them about this program. But unfortunately, our leadership in times past didn't make this important for whatever reason, and so I'm heavily involved in anything that deal with a child, because and in the essence, we live for 50 more years. So that's what this is all about. Tom has he's been doing this for about 12 or 13 years, and he's pretty sharp, arranging to get things done. And so all I had to do is come alongside of him and clap and be his cheerleader, so he makes it pretty easy, actually. So, but again, I just wanted to add that into the equation as well.
I appreciate all those words, and I'm glad we caught that on the recorded session. I did see our National Senior Vice Commandant, who is on board, and he slipped through my cracks. So I am so glad that you're on board. Senior Vice Griffin, you got any words for us?
My pleasure, Beyond. Thanks, Victoria. And Tom and Bo, I really appreciate it. Jimmy, the presentation, I think if we go back in history, President Kennedy had started the youth physical fitness program, all the schools. The president's physical fitness program. I remember as a high school kid, we all participated in it, and it was great. It was fun, and there was always competition. I don't think my high school was much different than anybody else's high school. Guys would get together, and one guy could do 10 pull-ups. Okay, somebody else now has to do 11. There's always great competition, and it was fun, and we enjoyed it. And it was over a few days. There was a 50-yard dash, sit-ups, pull-ups, and everything else. But it was great for the kids. This program here is great for the kids, and a program that's needed for our American kids today. As Tom said, no matter what service the kids want to go into, many of them are rejected just because they can't make the physical qualifications, which is a sin. And that's happened in one generation due to everybody relying on their computers and staying home and not getting out and having general exercise. So this provides general exercise. I remember as a teacher in Boston, with city kids saying, look, it's the other teachers will tell you, make sure you get your homework. I said, that's important. That's good. I said, but when you leave school, go out and play some ball. Go out and don't go right into the house and start your stupid work. You can always get that done when it's dark. Go out and play some ball. Just general exercise. Our kids need it in America today in a big, big way.
Thank you so much for those motivating words, sir. If you need the next 3 months worth of Commandants Corners, please contact me directly, publicrelations@mcleague.org. I'm going to stop the recorded session now and say good night, Chesty, wherever you are. Semper Fidelis, everyone.